Hello, friends and supporters. I got to say, this particular update is replacing some previous updates that are really kind of outdated information that just would not help. The situation with Blessings, the imminent danger for her has escalated. And quite frankly, we're still emotionally shell-shocked from this. But there has been a recent attempt on her. And she disappeared. I didn't hear from her from April 23rd for 5 days. I have some alliances where she's at, and some good people got together and followed a trail. Apparently there was some kind of accident. This whole thing smelled funny from the beginning, and it just seemed to be part of something bad. Of course it was, but she was basically taken by a fake ambulance to an unlegitimate hospital, and the type that people never check out of. And these people were so brazen. First of all, the reason they can be brazen is because the combination of the human sex trafficking and trafficking people for the purposes of organ harvesting is so rampant that I don't even know. I guess all I can say is it's so rampant that they had the nerve to try and when I say they, I mean, I only wish that we knew exactly who our enemies are, exactly who's watching a particular group, where to find them, how to try to eradicate this problem by identifying them, and, the dream of just being able to tell the authorities and have them handle it all. It's not a luxury that you're going to have in these type of situations. This particular situation, however, this attempt, I'm not even sure what number that makes, what number of attempts have been made on her, because it seems to be different approaches every time by different people. This time they used a fake ambulance to respond to an accident that was probably no accident, involving a truck collision with a city bus. So this ambulance, we got to take this poor woman to the hospital. So they slap on some fake bandaging and start administering this so-called life-saving care. Well, after the investigation was done, they were so brazen as to reach out. It's not even funny that we were able to get a hold of this information, or them us. That just shows how deeply they can get into your information. Let me just start by trying to say something good. She is safe right now. I've spoke to her as of 2 days ago, but I'm still shell-shocked, so I don't really feel comfortable with this video, except that it has to be made. So they were so brazen as to tell us that her spleen was punctured. And I don't know if I should even talk about a spleen injury and how fatal that can be, because there's so many capillaries in this spleen. I can only say that it was a well-chosen lie, because if there's a spleen injury, you need immediate care and a lot of aftercare. And so their intention was to, before they did whatever they're going to do or intend for her, they were going to try to extort a very big amount of money for these so-called medical procedures. And they actually have a set-up location, I can't say alleged hospital, it's just an unlegitimate hospital. A lot of those hospitals do not look very legitimate, but that has nothing to do with anything. It's just a difference in geography, that part. The human sex trafficking, targeting women and children especially, but people of all ages and genders, has been documented going on everywhere and in your town. I don't care where you live, okay? So this is not just some Nigeria thing. It just so happens their hospitals are quite different there. So that alone didn't necessarily have to be an indicator of this. But there was an attempt at extorting money from us for this so-called procedure. And we had to do our own investigation. And in that investigation, we look at all the legitimate hospitals. Every single one in the country is listed. It's got a real website on Google with real ratings, a real phone number, and a WhatsApp number, because everybody knows that that's widely used by anybody who's smart that wants to make an international call and can't, like myself. To each their own. But they list numbers, contact, and then you'll get a very real communication from a legitimate physician who will identify themselves, apologize for the tragedy with your loved ones. They'll give their contact number, their hours, advise you that you should and can call at any time for any information that you need, and that the situation needs to be attended to. In that country, what they will do is they'll tell you after the assessment what the hospital fees are going to be. Well, they came up with this big, ridiculous number, and they were intent on collecting that before they did anything else with her. I wasn't buying it. Some of my allies from that country, I talked to people in different states, the capital, and different cities, I'll just say. And everybody's like, no, bad. Do not give them people any money. And I'm thinking, okay, well, it's a little more complicated than that. We might have to do something because they've got her. So no, of course I didn't give them any money. No one, I did not, this movement would never do that. But one of my allies tested the waters, and I said, look, I want proof of life. I want to talk to her. It's been X amount of days now, so she should be clearly conscious. And if she's not conscious, that wouldn't make sense because it's on her chart, no narcotics or sedatives. So she shouldn't be asleep for no reason. Let's put it that way. They can administer things for pain and whatnot. But after she stabilized, we should have been able to have a video call. So they said, okay, well, you can make a gesture of good faith installment, and we're going to facilitate that. Whenever you do it, we're ready. Very bold. So my associate, God bless him for his thought, he made this installment. I'm like, do you really think that is going to work? I'm like, what do you expect to happen from that? And he's like, I expect them to be professional, and when it's time for you to have your video chat with her and find out how she's feeling and what is exactly going on, I expect that to happen. That time came and went. And like I said, that's when I began to reach out to other people. So they didn't release her, and I'm really have to cut to the chase because I can't get into details, but we were able to get her out of there. Of course, without paying that stupid bill, okay? Because it was discovered that it was a completely unauthorized hospital for illegal purposes such as the traffic in human beings and organ harvesting. It's just by the grace of God that we got her out of there before that happened. But clearly they got greedy. They wanted to extort, I should say, all this money from any of her people that would be dumb enough to pay. And we got her out of there. Now, of course, I'm not going to say where, but I had to move her another many hours away to another safe spot, increase the level of security, and we're back right where we started. Now, a lot of people and supporters have brought to my attention that maybe it's not being stressed enough that the only solution here is to get her immediately out of Nigeria. And maybe I haven't emphasized that enough. Maybe, I don't know, in some way that I've failed in my mission because I've had to keep her alive. I've had to keep her safe. It's been no small venture. Just the security that goes on in that, tending to someone who can't go wandering around because she's in danger. Everything was kind of based on that for a little bit as we collected ourselves and just tried to keep her safe for right now. But there's no perfect way to handle this. I can't say, okay, well, I'm going to build us a castle here. And so when she comes home, everything's going to be just peachy and we're going to wait till it's perfect to get her out of there. No, this needs to be like an ASAP military extraction. That's obviously just an expression for we need to worry about solely the flight costs. And that's what we're worried about right now, okay? We're trying as a group, as a collective, people with a conscience and people who understand that these things are going on in the world. And now that you know of someone that's going through that, you may not be able to save everybody, but now that you know one, this is someone that you can help save. You can help support us. No matter what walk of life you're in, there is something you can do. And we are asking you to do what you can and join us. Please, this is seriously life and death that has continued to escalate for Blessing. She's hanging strong. Right now, she's really laying low. I am satisfied with the efforts that we're making for her security at this time. But you got to understand, Blessing, nor I, for that matter, but I wouldn't dare put myself to say that I'm in the exact position that she is. But our life together, we're not living life, we're just surviving. She is certainly the prime example, pretty much prisoner in her own home for safety reasons. And then when she has to leave there for any very necessary reason, it's a very big deal. It's a high security incident. That can't go on for her. Now, I want you to notice, because they're dumb enough to represent these last people that made this attempt, whether they were whatever part of that movement against her they play. They utilize this unlegitimate, very illegal hospital for evil purposes. They utilize that, and they actually will let people come in there to see their loved one. I don't understand that at all, because I don't know what excuse they were planning on giving besides saying, oh, I'm sorry, she didn't make it, or whatever. I don't even get that part. But if you notice, if you look at the GoFundMe, which the link is provided, you'll see they do not allow pictures in there. And that, I think, goes on in other hospitals. But I told them, I'm like, whatever you do, sneak some pictures, because I need to at least see that she's there at a minimum. The pictures are just terrible. She looks like she's dying, if not perished, and God forbid. I hate to even say it that way, but it's dire. To me, the picture showed how poor of a job they did constructing that, and I don't know, they must be new at that, or really bad. I don't know how our people got in there to get those pictures, or what was said. I don't know if there was more to it, like some money paid, maybe, I just know that those pictures show what's going on. She's had legitimate trips to the hospital because of her medical conditions that are going on. This was not one of them. But you can't take pictures in legitimate hospitals. And this this time we forced the issue because of, you know, collectively we all agreed that this was not legitimate. The name of that hospital does not appear online. There is no website. There are no real doctors in there that are licensed to be doing anything to anybody, or nurse practitioners or nurses or staff. They're all criminals. And there was there was 2 wards in there. We got a number of the number of staff and the estimate number of patients, and there was a number of basically victims in there. We were only able to get blessing out of that. But this is another attempt, okay? This is not going to stop. Whatever it is, once you've angered one of these organizations that are sometimes way bigger than what you know, and that line was clearly crossed the first couple of times that we outsmarted them, they're mad and they want, you know, I don't know how else to say it. They want blood. They want blessing. They're not going to stop. So I've been calling the prayer line every day, usually with the ups and downs of all of this. And by the grace of God, she's still alive. But we have to extract her. I hate to say that. It sounds too... I wish I could go in there with the U.S. Marines and extract her, but I cannot. She's going to have to leave on a flight. We're going to have to be able to pay for that flight. She's got to come from the other side of the world. So no, it's not going to be like your jaunt from, Minneapolis to Chicago or something like that. You pay this very small flight fee and sit there for 45 minutes and have a coffee. This is a big deal. That's why we need the help. It's transport, travel. She's got to be driven to the best airport while she's over there, then take a flight that lasts God knows how long, and then we got to figure out what state she's even going to land in, and then that's probably going to be a car ride that I'm going to be personally involved in at that point. So there's a lot to that. But we are specifically on the mission of raising money for her departure from Africa, away from this threat, and just to start life over again here at home with people who love her and, can look out for her well-being in a better sense, because she doesn't have that level of support over there. And the family unit was already small, but now it's pretty much fractured, and there's not a support system in place for her over there. So we just want to bring her home. We thank you for any support that you will join us with at this time. All of your prayers and support have been greatly appreciated. Thank you.